we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Hello everyone, it is Chinchilla Sims here again, and today we are building a micro home camper. So in my last video I talked about how I originally wanted that house that I built, the industrial modern one, to be a micro home, but I just found it too complicated and I just found it hard enough to build a house with 64 tiles, let alone 32. But today I decided to tackle the 32 tile tier of the Tiny Home series. So this was actually kind of easy, honestly. I was surprised, but I started off kind of wanting it to be this like beat up looking camper, and then it kind of turned into like a glamper where it has like a lot of pastel colors, and I just went crazy because I just got nifty knitting, and you know, like that comes with pastel swatches of like everything, and the items are just so cute and I couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist making it a pastel camper, and I think it turns out really adorable, and I'm kind of glad that I went with the pastel approach instead of the more rustic, like beaten up kind of look, just because I think it was more fun. But I used to camp a lot, and so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of the layout of campers, and I think that this is really based on a camper that I used to be in a lot. We had these friends at a campground, and I was really good friends with their children, so I went over to their camper a lot. We had like a pop-up camper, so that's a little different, but these people had like an actual trailer camper, and I would go over there all the time and be inside of there. So the layout on the inside, and also the just where items are placed and everything, is kind of based on those people's camper. So you'll see that little area that's jutted out in the back that I made. I'm going to make that into a booth, just because in our family friend's camper, like they had a booth with a table in front of it. And so I just kind of based it on that, and I thought it actually looks really neat. I used the one that comes with Dine Out, I believe. Yeah, it comes with Dine Out. So it's like one of those booths that you can only put certain tables in front of. You can see it right there, actually. But I end up changing up the whole color scheme in here. So instead of what you see right now, it's all going to be pastel, and it looks so cute and a little bit hippie, I guess. So that's kind of how I got the idea. I built this before I made the sim in the intro montage, so I kind of based that sim off of this. So she was wearing a lot of pastel colors, and she had her hair dyed pastel purple, and she was just, you know, a little bit hippie looking, just like it has not a care in the world, and she's just living her best life. So I thought that was a really cute idea anyways. So yeah, here you can see I'm like building the kitchen and everything, and the living area, which is basically all one area because this is like the smallest house ever. But I think it's so cute, and yeah, there I'm going with the hanging plants because I was just way too excited about the whole nifty knitting thing. I had completely forgotten that we got those with the pack until I was looking through the plant section, and I freaked out, and I just had to use them all over this build. And there I'm adding some cute little hanging twinkly lights, which I think suit the build so well, because I kind of imagine that whatever sim lives here, they kind of just tour the country in their little camper. So right now I'm building in Strangerville, in the little, it's not a trailer park, it's like a little campground. There's just like campers sitting all over everywhere, and unfortunately Sims don't actually live in them and they're just debug objects, but I just thought it was a really cute place to build it. But it would be kind of a cool idea to maybe just keep moving this all over. Like, I don't know if you can actually pick up houses and move them like you could in The Sims 3 with the family in it and everything, but maybe you could just move the lot and then have your sim move to the lot again in other worlds. I just think it would be really fun to like maybe move this to the volcano lot in Sulani or something and just pretend that your sim is just like a free spirit that's just traveling the world and doing odd jobs, because you can do that in The Sims now. I don't know if you guys knew that, but if you go to the phone, you can find odd jobs and then you can do things like mow people's lawns or go clean up the island or something. And I think that that's like a really cool idea. It kind of reminded me of that one movie. It's a really sad movie actually. It's called Adrift, and the girl basically her whole life has just been like staying in one place long enough to make enough money to go to the next place. But she's always in places that are like really tropical and beautiful, and that's just kind of how she lived her life. And I thought that it would be cool for a sim to live their life that way and maybe not establish themselves at all, maybe just like see the whole world and learn new skills and do whatever they want. I thought that would be a really fun idea. So that's kind of my inspiration for this camper. I wanted it to be super comfy, like this is somebody's actual home and this is like where they live and they don't have anything else outside of the items that are in this camper. And yeah, so I thought about putting a debug truck, because I don't know if you noticed me make a hitch at the front of the camper, but you can kind of see it right here, it's the little triangle, but I made like a makeshift hitch, and I was trying to hook up a debug truck to it at one point, and it looked fine, it looked pretty normal, but I just thought that none of the other cars really had, none of the other campers in the campground had cars hooked up to them, so I just thought it would look more cohesive if I left it off, and I thought it made it look a little bit more messy, so we can just pretend that the truck is parked elsewhere, because obviously cars aren't even functional in The Sims 4 as of yet anyways. And yeah, so here I'm making the world's smallest bathroom. That bathroom is so tiny, but I play tested it. I don't know if you saw me like put a sim in there a second ago. I play tested it and I had to make sure that it worked, but it does. And I actually had to move around the bedroom furniture a little bit because the mirror, when it was in that corner, the sim wasn't able to get to the bed, so I just moved it further into the corner and then it was fine. But yeah, so I actually cut out a lot of this. I changed the awning like 30 times on this build, but I actually really like this blue and white one. I think it suits the inside of the build a lot. Once I finished the inside of the build, I like had an epiphany about what I wanted to do with the outside. So I was trying to mess with the outside at first and I got really frustrated. So I ended up just doing the whole inside, and I'm glad I did, because once I did that, the outside just kind of fell together. So that is what I'm doing right now. I'm adding a little satellite to the top, and I add an air conditioner to the top, which you can kind of see on the other campers in the background. I just thought it would look more realistic and a lot more cohesive if I put that there. And you know what I noticed when I was playing in this house is that your sim can actually hear the air conditioner running. So I thought that was a really cool detail, and I've never noticed that before. Yeah, so I just changed the roof pattern right there. I think that one looks so much better and it just matches the build. Obviously you don't see a lot of campers with a blue roof or siding or whatever, but I just thought that this person maybe puts a lot of money into their little camper because it's honestly all that they have. So now I'm just making a sort of yard area. I wanted it to look like it could be packed up and put away. I didn't want to put a lot of stuff out here. So I put some plants and I put that tiny little grill that I imagine can probably fold up, and I put down a couple of little stones, and I put down a flower arranging table, which might be a little bit hard to move, but we can just pretend. But I just wanted there to be some activities because you can't really fit hardly anything inside of a micro home. So I just tried to put a lot of activities outside. I didn't put anything for a pet. I know that I showed a dog in the intro montage, but I didn't actually put anything in here for a pet. But you could probably move some stuff around, or maybe get rid of the mirror or the dresser in the bedroom and put a food bowl, or you could just keep the food bowl outside wherever you are. And so I put a little dining area out here. You'll actually see me change this up completely because I end up making the yard, like the turf area, span the whole length of the camper, just so that I could fit more things without it looking so crazy and stuffed and very full. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right here. And eventually at the end I'm going to put the turf all the way over, and I just imagine that's probably a roll-up turf rug or something. We had something like that when we went camping. It was just like a fake grass mat that you roll out and keep yourself from getting dirty, like whenever you go in and out of the camper. Yeah, so here I am just like making the little yard area, and I put those rugs that look like rocks, I put them in a pattern. I just kept sizing them up and down and making it look like they were a little stone pattern. I think that's kind of what they're for, because what I remember they're called like a stone flop or something, I don't know. I just thought that they looked cute, and maybe they actually could be rugs, because I don't know if your sim would want to carry little stones with them everywhere that they go. But yeah, so I was just sizing down those extra flower boxes to add some blue flowers to the flower boxes on the window, just to make it look a little bit nicer with all of the other blue that's going on around, because it was just kind of purple and red flowers and it didn't really match. So that's what I was doing there, and I kind of struggled with this front porch area of what I should put here. I thought the other plants would look like nice here, but I ended up cutting out a lot of that footage. So right there, I am just adding a trash can and realizing that I forgot to put one on the inside of the build, which is a problem because your sim like won't throw anything away, or they'll run outside every time they need to throw something away. So I was trying to figure out for the longest time where I was going to put a trash can in this build, and I end up putting it outside by the flower arranging table. And I thought that was fine because this is a micro home and you just have to compromise a little bit. I didn't end up adding a sink in the kitchen either, which might bother some of you, but I figured it was fine because the bathroom is right there. It's such a small house. She can just go in the bathroom and clean up the dishes. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but if you do, you can definitely add a dishwasher to the countertop in there, and then your sim can just throw all their dishes in the dishwasher. But I didn't want to do that just because I thought that the knobs and everything on the front of those cabinets were really vintage looking and really cute, and they went with the rest of the build because I used like some distressed furniture and everything in there, and I just thought that it looked really nice with it. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this build, and we are coming up on the screenshots, so I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future